This man stole over $65 billion, not in a day, not in a year, but slowly, carefully, over decades, while living a life of luxury that made everyone believe he was a financial genius. For years, people trusted him with everything they had, savings, their investments, even their retirement funds. His name was Bernard Madoff, a man respected on Wall Street, admired by powerful investors, and seen as one of the safest hands to trust with money. But hidden behind the success, the confidence, and the reputation was a secret so massive, it would eventually become the biggest financial fraud in U.S. history. Bernie didn't become powerful overnight. He spent years building his name, his connections, and his credibility in the world of finance, slowly gaining the trust of people who believed he could never fail. He even rose to become chairman of NASDAQ, one of the most respected positions in the financial world, which made people believe he was not just successful, but completely legitimate. The richest individuals, major banks, and large organizations all wanted to invest with him, believing their money was safer in his hands than anywhere else. From celebrities to charities, everyone wanted a piece of his investment fund, and getting in felt like joining an exclusive club that only a few lucky people. What made Bernie different was consistency. While others lost money in the market, he always reported steady profits, no matter what was happening in the economy. Investors were impressed, even shocked, at how reliable his returns were, and instead of questioning it, they trusted him even more and invested even larger amounts. People began recommending him to friends, family, and colleagues, and slowly the network of investors kept growing bigger and bigger. Billions of dollars flowed into his company, creating the image of a financial empire that looked unstoppable from the outside. But behind closed doors, things were very different from what investors believed, and the truth was far more dangerous than anyone could imagine. There were no real investments being made, no complex trading strategies, no secret system generating profits behind the scenes. Instead, everything was built on fake numbers, carefully created to make it look like investors were making money when they actually weren't. Employees printed fake account statements, showing profits that didn't exist, keeping the illusion alive for years without raising suspicion. When investors requested their money, Bernie simply used money from new investors to pay them, making it seem like the system was working perfectly. This type of fraud is known as a Ponzi scheme, and as long as new money kept coming in, the lie could continue without collapsing. And because everything looked normal on the surface, no one thought to question what was happening behind the scenes. Bernie controlled everything: the information, the records, and the narrative, making it nearly impossible for anyone to uncover the truth. Then in 2008, something happened that would change everything. The global financial system began to collapse. Markets crashed, businesses failed, and panic spread across the world as investors desperately tried to protect their money. Bernie's investors, like everyone else, started asking to withdraw their funds, cure what they had left, but the requests kept increasing. Billions of dollars were suddenly being demanded all at once. And that's when the truth started to reveal itself, because the money they were asking for simply didn't exist. The system that had worked for decades began to break under pressure, exposing cracks that could no longer be hidden. Bernie knew the end was near. There was no way to continue the lie without new money coming in. And for the first time in years, he had no way out. With everything collapsing around him, Bernie made a decision that would change everything. He confessed, but not to the police, not investors, but to his own sons. He told them the truth, that the entire The success, the profits, the reputation was all a lie. Shocked and devastated, his sons did something unexpected. They reported him to the authorities immediately. The next day, law enforcement arrived, and the man who once controlled billions was taken into custody. In that moment, one of the biggest frauds in history finally came to an end. In 2009, Bernie Madoff stood in court, facing the consequences of everything he had done. He was sentenced to 50 years in prison, ensuring he would never walk free again. But for the victims, justice didn't feel like enough, because their losses could never be recovered. Families lost their life savings, businesses collapsed, and countless lives were permanently changed. All of it built on trust that was completely betrayed by one man's deception. And the most terrifying part of this story is not how much money was stolen, but how long it happened. Without anyone realizing, it was all a lie.